So we have some more news with the NVIDIA RTX 50 series. First, with the RTX 5090. Now, we're not really too sure exactly where these are going to fall in terms of performance and power, but we can look at what we have now and see what's going to happen. Okay, so Seasonic, who makes power supplies, they recently listed the TDP of these GPUs. And now you can take this with a grain of salt. We don't know if it's going to be 100% accurate or not, but it seems like it could potentially be. So the 5090 is the one that seems like got the biggest change. We're going to talk about that one soon. But before that, the 5080, if you know the 4080 Super has a 320 watt TDP, it looks like the 5080 is going to go to around 350 watts. Now, that's not a huge difference, but it certainly does impact your build, especially, a 4080 or a 5080. A lot of people did put them in mini ITX and things like that. And the hotter that it runs, it's just more difficult to cool. It makes more noise, pulls more power. You're going to need a beefier power supply. So there's a lot that happens with these type of GPUs. And now let's hear a word from our sponsor, VIP-CDKdeals.com, a Windows Pro CD key. Add to cart, you put in code CC20. This will also work on Windows 11. You want to go into your settings in Windows, change and adjust your CD key, click activate, and now let's go back to the video. Now, the RTX 4070 Super at 220 watts seems like it's going to stay roughly the same with the 5070 220 watts. Now, the 4070 Super performs pretty well for 220 watts. So you can imagine a 220 watt 5070 Super, that's going to be pretty impressive. It's probably going to be at least like 4080 performance or thereabouts. It already gets very close to the 4070 Ti, the original one. The 4070 Super certainly punches above its weight, and it's likely to have that same 12 gigabytes of VRAM. So the power staying the same and then the performance going up, going to be very interesting. Now, the 5090, this is where it gets interesting. 500 watts. That's what Seasonic says, supposedly. Now, the existing 4090 is 450 watts, which is certainly a lot. Yeah, you're going to need a pretty beefy power supply. I think most people that have like 4090s probably stepped up to 1,000 watts or more. You can probably get away with less, of course, like 850 watts. So, some people even recommend like that amount minimum. But I would say 1,000 watts plus, especially with these powerful CPUs, you're going to be a lot safer by not pushing the limits of your power supply. So 500 watts is certainly a lot. I mean, we've seen 4090s push over 500 watts before, but those are like special models. A lot of times they're overclocked. So if you're talking about a base 5090, going to be around 500 watts, an overclocked one could easily reach nearly 600. So that's going to be very interesting. And supposedly they're all going to have the 16-pin power cable. Now, we know NVIDIA had a lot of trouble with the 4090 and, its power cable. A lot of reports of melted connectors and things like that. Some people say it was user error. Some people may say it's down to the design. Whatever it is, certainly makes people very nervous. I know, but I have a 4090. Occasionally, I'm going to open it up and check it just to make sure nothing's going on. Even though it is pushed in all the way, it's just a little bit of a thing that you really think may happen because you've seen it so many times, especially on Reddit and things like that. Hopefully, as part of this, higher power, NVIDIA has also really tweaked whatever cable, whatever format they're going to use, be it a 16-pin power cable, whatever it is. Hopefully they've tweaked it so it's literally, very safe, and you don't have whatever problems happened with the existing 4090 repeat itself on the 5090. Even if it was user error, in some cases they can make the cable more user error proof. Maybe make sure it snaps in place better. I've seen some companies have like a color coded piece on the cable to make sure you can visually see that it's all the way in. So that's basically what we have going on here with the TDP. So definitely going up. I mean, it's not a small difference. Like 50 watts for a 5090 is pretty significant, especially when you're already dealing with so much power draw and heat. So that tells us these GPUs, like NVIDIA is probably really pushing them in order to get the maximum amount amount of performance. The question is it going to be worth it for whatever price they come out at? It's going to be, it's something to see. I'm not too sure. We're going to see by the end of the year as these get announced, but it's interesting to see some of these numbers start to come out and see if they happen to be true. All right, guys, so remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys on the next video.